All right, we're recording now. Um, so for Success Club, we have Joan at 12, Kat at 12, Chris at 11, Kylie at 10, Jenna at 8, Lori at 8, Natalie at 8, Rachel at 8, Allison at 6, Kim at 6, and Morgan at 6. Nice job, guys. Way to start off the month. All right, so my presentation is titled Life in the Slow Lane. It's about slow starters and why, as a coach, you should continue to engage them and not lose sight of them just because they're moving at a slower pace. And it also has a little bit of advice for coaches that are starting out and are going a little slower. Like I said, my name is Beth Corbeau. I joined Beachbody on May 6, 2014. I'm from Maine. I live in Buxton. I'm a true Mainer. I love to be outdoors. Any season. My favorite season is obviously summer, like most of us, especially as winter's coming to an end. I'm a dog mom to 3 boxers. Tyson, who's 9, Lexus, who's 8, and Greta, who's 6. I'm married. My husband Matt and I have been married for almost 3 years. Today is actually 4 years since we got engaged, which is kind of exciting and crazy to think about. I am a team member on Project Fearless, and my upline coach is Meg Lyon, and I'm a wannabe cook. I am starting a food blog coming up here soon. I love to experiment, and most recently, since starting Beachbody, I've been experimenting with creating people's favorite comfort foods into healthier versions. So that's what my food blog's going to be about. I used to be a business development specialist for a local engineering company, and I am now a full-time Beachbody coach. I left my job a little prematurely, but I think it was a great decision ultimately. For me, didn't really love my job. I loved what I did, but I didn't like the environment that I was in. I was in an extremely negative environment, and as you all know, this is an extremely positive environment. It has been a much better situation for me. And I'm a Star Diamond qualified coach. So I'll tell you a little bit about how Beachbody changed my life. One of the things that I want to focus on is why it's so important to get over your fear of reaching out to people that you don't know. And I'll get into a little bit about how this relates to me. So like I said, my coach is Meg Lyon, and Meg saved my life. I have celiac, and before Beachbody, I was not unhealthy, but I had the mindset that I love food. I'm a huge foodie, and I didn't care that food was going to make me sick. I just wanted to enjoy what I wanted to enjoy. I was the person that my doctor hated. And since Beachbody, I have done a complete 180. I follow my gluten-free diet, and I feel absolutely amazing, better than I have ever felt since getting diagnosed and since way before getting diagnosed. And I say Meg saved my life in more ways than one because she reached out to me, and I had never met Meg before. I didn't know her. She knew my husband. They had crossed in passing in a bowling alley, and she friended me one day, and I accepted her friend request. She had a couple of posts. She was just starting out as a coach and just starting the 21-day fix, and she put up a couple of cute, funny, engaging posts about the 21-day fix, and I liked a few of them. And she reached out to me one night. I remember exactly where I was sitting. I was sitting in downtown Portland at an oyster bar, and she asked me if I had ever thought about joining one of her challenge groups. I had no idea what a challenge group was. I had no idea who this girl was and why she was messaging me. But I engaged in the conversation. And the second she said Shakeology to me and that there was a shake involved, it was all over. I didn't want to talk to her anymore. I had previously, and pretty close to starting Beachbody, had a really bad experience with another product on the market that's sold exactly like Shakeology is, and I had an awful reaction to it, even though it was being sold as a gluten-free product. And Meg just kept engaging with me. She didn't make it awkward. She just kept reaching out and encouraging me and telling me that it would be okay and that it's okay to just try it. And if it didn't work, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. And she just made me feel really comfortable. So I ended up ordering the 21-day fix. And it changed my life. I lost 14 pounds in my first round of the 21-day fix, and it was all over from there. I was addicted. And I can honestly say that had Meg not reached out to me, I would not be where I am in my life today. So when I get fearful, and this is one of the biggest things that I had to overcome as a coach to start being successful, was my fear of reaching out to people that I didn't know. But when I sat down and thought about it, I didn't know Meg when she reached out to me, and I never thought negatively about her, or never was like, why is this person contacting me, or never was angry about it. And those are the things that I thought people would be with me if I reached out to them about this and not knowing them. Sorry, it's hard not to read the comments at the same time. I drink vegan chocolate Shakeology. So when I get fearful about reaching out to people that I don't know, I think back, where would I be in my life if Meg hadn't reached out to me? And I can tell you that I would not be the happy person that I am today. I would still be at a job in an environment that I hated, and with a boss who was super negative and made my life really difficult. And I would not have so many new friends that I'm so thankful for. So when I adjusted my way of thinking about reaching out to new people, my business changed completely. And even still now, when I get fearful about reaching out to new people or how a conversation is going with somebody new, I take a step back and I really make myself evaluate where I am and where I would be had Meg not reached out to me. And what if I just have to think, what if I can do that for one person? If I can do that for one person, then I've been successful, and that's all I ever want. So the other part about how Beachbody changed my life, and a little bit about what this presentation is about, is that slow and steady is okay sometimes. There's a huge focus in this business and in this team on coaches who excel really fast and move up in the ranks really fast. And I love that because it motivates me to do better and motivates me to think differently and think how I can adjust my business and do things differently. But moving fast just isn't me. And that's okay. I've still found success in this business, and I want other coaches who aren't necessarily moving extremely fast to know that you can still find success in this business, even if you move a little bit more slowly. So I'm going to talk about my aha moment right now. So this is going to make me cry, but my aha moment was a day of skiing with Joan Crocker. We decided one day that we were going to take a drive up to Sugarloaf just for a day. And Sugarloaf is a mountain in Maine. For those of you that aren't from Maine, it's about 2 to 2.5 hours from where Joan and I live, although if you're driving with Joan, it's like an hour and a half. And it holds a very special place in both of our hearts. Both of us growing up there with our families every weekend. I used to think that my parents deprived me as a child because they forced me to go there every single weekend. Now I wish I could just go back there every single weekend. And my parents still own a home there, so I do still spend some time there, but not as much time as I would like to. So one random Wednesday, Joan and I drove up there. It was snowing on our way up and cloudy, and I was a little bummed because I love watching the Bigelows as I ski down. And as we approached the mountain, it was like the clouds cleared out of the way. We had the most gorgeous, gorgeous day. Like, I can't even explain to you. It was probably the best day of the season. And not only was it gorgeous because of the weather and the conditions and everything, but just having that one-on-one time with Joan changed the way that I thought about my business. She isn't afraid to ask the hard questions and make you give honest answers. And she flat out asked me why I wasn't taking a hold of the opportunity that was right in front of me and why I wasn't reaching for it. And I had to think about it. I was fearful, and I was fearful of being honest about being fearful, but I was honest with her that day, and she gave me great advice that really made me stop and think, and really made me think for like the next few days and few weeks really hard about what I wanted and why I had started this. So after 8 full months of being at Emerald, and 1 day of skiing with Joan, 2 weeks later I went diamond, and less than 1 month after that trip I became star qualified. So also since this trip I have signed 4 actively building coaches. I just feel like I have changed my thinking and what I wanted and really gone after it, and it has allowed me to attract people. And people say that all the time, and I didn't get it until now. People are attracted to me and ask me now. And it's an amazing feeling. So the things that I learned from this, and from all of a sudden going from Emerald to a month later or 6 weeks later being star qualified, is that my team never gave up on me. Yes, I moved slowly. Yes, I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do, and I was lying to myself about it and lying to my coach about it. But they never gave up on me. They always were looking for me on a team call. They were always asking me to do a Zoom call. I can tell you that Meg sat almost all fall, every single Monday night, and did a power hour with me. Just me alone, her and I, going through every single conversation. And that was a turning point for my business too. I was lying to me and lying to her about how many people I was reaching out to and why I wasn't reaching out to them. And she stuck the guns to me and made me start following through. And I just want everybody to know that just because you don't move as quickly as everyone else, yes, the framework is there, especially in this team with the support that we have, for you to move really quickly. And just because you don't do that doesn't mean that you can't be a rock star coach, and doesn't mean that you can't find your momentum. It wasn't that I was a slow learner or that I wasn't willing to do the work that was necessary to be successful. It was that I didn't believe in the process yet. And I don't know why I didn't believe in the process. So this is my advice to slow starters and why you shouldn't walk away from the business easily. Why you should put up a fight and really put the effort in. Even if it doesn't come as quickly as you thought it would. First off, don't compare your business to other coaches' businesses. This is really hard to do. You get that feeling looking at other coaches' businesses that it comes easy to them because they're signing more coaches than you. They're becoming more successful than you are. But once you change your mindset and really start believing, the come easy feeling comes, and you get it, and it will come. Don't give up on it. I always looked up at my upline and truly restricted myself and told myself that I could never be as successful as they could, and I was setting those own bars against walls against myself. No one else was doing it. I was the only one. Everybody else believed in me and told me that they believed in me, but I didn't believe them, even though they were saying it right to my face. Yes, the products had worked really well for me. I've lost a total of 38 pounds since I started this, and I'm 6 pounds away from being at my goal weight, which was my pre-wedding weight, and I'm pretty amazed by that. I never thought I would be there. And I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to say, but I knew the product worked, but I still didn't have full belief in them. I still had that mindset that there's got to be a catch here. There's got to be a breaking point. There's going to be a point where working out at home isn't going to work anymore, and Shakeology isn't going to work anymore. And I actually didn't cancel my gym membership until right before Christmas, which is really sad to say and it upsets me. But once I really canceled my gym membership, I allowed myself to break that barrier and fully believe in the products that I knew worked. So be your own competition. And that is one thing that I've really tried to focus on more recently. I every time that every week, I look back at how many people I reached out to, and I want to reach out to 2 more people this week than I did last week. I want to reach out to 2 more people that are conversations that are hard for me to start, are conversations that don't start right off for fitness. Reaching out to people and just being like, hey, how are you? I haven't seen you in forever. Like someone that I haven't seen since high school or something. Those conversations are hard for me. And so I look back at how many of those conversations I started last week, and I want to start 2, at least 2 minimum, more than that this week. And I just really highly recommend that you start competing with yourself instead of competing with others. My second piece of advice is personal development. Personal development kept me in this business. There is so much to this business beyond getting healthy and fit, and even beyond helping others. I didn't really dive into personal development at first. I was one of those people that was like, what? Like, I'm okay. I don't like reading those books. I don't like listening to that. But when I did actually dive in, I totally changed my thinking. And this is what I love about this business. I didn't just change my thinking about this business. I changed my thinking about my life in general. I don't think a lot of people know this about me, but I used to be incredibly negative. Probably one of the most negative people that you ever would have met. And if you ask my husband flat out, he will tell you that I was the most negative person that he knew. I could find the negative in everything, in everyone, and I could twist anything into being negative. And this is the book that changed my life, Get More In to Your Life by Gabrielle Bernstein. When I read this book, something clicked, and I started to think differently, completely differently. I started to cut out the negative people in my life. I used to live my life in fear of what other people thought that I was doing. No matter what I did, I always thought, oh my God, what are people going to think? And I don't know why I cared so much. It didn't matter what other people thought. And I'll tell you that that is a super miserable way to live. And I am so thankful for the discovery of personal development, or personal development being pushed in front of me, and the focus that this team has on personal development and this business has on personal development. And I truly believe that if you're not doing personal development, you aren't in this business, and your mindset is not in this business. Number 3, the realization that even if you get a no from someone, it's not a no forever. I struggled with this a lot at the beginning. And I struggled with no's in the beginning, with no's in the middle, and suddenly when I changed my thinking and my business changed, and I started being more positive, and I had a different energy and aura around me, some of the no's that I had gotten started turning into people reaching out to me and asking me, saying that they had changed their mind and did want to talk to me and did want to know more about what I had to offer. And it just made me realize that sometimes somebody says no to you and you shouldn't write them off. You shouldn't just delete them or anything like that. You should always check back in with them. And I know that's a lesson that we always learn. But no doesn't mean no. And you'll be surprised at how many no's, when you change your attitude, turn into yeses. Or you change your thinking, turn into yeses. Number 4, listen to your coach. So this one should be easy. And it's not just about actually listening to your coach. It's more about putting trust in your leaders. There's no magic 8 ball. That everybody doesn't have the answer to everything, and there are a lot of really frustrating parts of this business. And we're all learning forward together. We're all in this together to help each other. And for me, this was a struggle because I wanted all the answers up front. I wanted them written out. I wanted to know absolutely everything. And that's just not possible in this business. So much changes all the time. And I had to really adjust for that. And that was really challenging for me because I am that kind of person where I want everything up front. And finally, I took a step back and decided that, Joan and Meg are amazing leaders, and why was I not trusting them, and why was I not trusting the process? And when I did that, my thinking changed, and I have complete trust in them. We hear it all the time, never give up on the vital behaviors. I mean, it should be simple. Everybody drives it into our brains. But I don't really think that it's possible to do all of the vital behaviors unless your thinking is in the right place, and you are in the right place, in the right mindset. There's something that Joan, I think it was Joan, said on a team call once. If you aren't doing these things every single day, your business is moving backwards. It's not standing still. It's literally moving backwards each day that you don't commit to these vital behaviors. And that clicked with me. I committed to the vital behaviors a few days a week, but I had never really, before I heard that, had never committed 7 days a week. And it just, it woke me up. I thought that even if I skipped a day here or there, that my business was standing still. But I completely understand what Joan is saying, that it's moving backwards if you're not doing these vital behaviors, and you're not being consistent. So really think about if you are actually doing these behaviors every single day, and think about where you want your business to be in the future and what you need to do that. You need to keep up with the vital behaviors. And my final recommendation is to become the kind of coach that you want on your own team. I was listening to some old national wake-up calls a while ago. It was actually really shortly after I had gone skiing with Joan, and they talked about this. Are you a coachable coach? Would you want yourself on your team? And I really think everybody should literally ask themselves this question. I don't know why that statement spoke to me, but that day I literally went home and wrote a list of the qualities that I want in my coaches. I want people that want to be leaders. I want people that are positive. I want people that are go-getters and going to go above and beyond for their coaches and to help others. And I wrote out a list of things that I didn't want in coaches. And every once in a while, I go back to that list and I go down the list and ask myself, and have to be honest with myself, if I am being all the things that I want in my coaches, and if any of the negatives apply to me, and how do I change those negatives so that I am all the things on the positive list and nothing on the negative list. And we all have to make adjustments as coaches, and everyone is a work in progress. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's going to be a building process. But it was a really interesting question to ask myself, and actually having the list to look at is helpful. So that's it. Just because you start off slowly doesn't mean that you can't pick up momentum. And I think that I'm pretty good proof of that lately. Aw, thanks. Any questions? Okay. Um, so my day now is totally different than what my day was 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago, I work from home, and this is my full-time business. And my husband also owns a business that I help out for, and I can say that I dedicated way more time to his business than I did to my own. Um, I wake up now, I always do some kind of personal development. Either whether it's reading or listening to something, even if it's just for 2 minutes, just because I want my day to start off positive. Um, Most of the time I work out in the morning. Sometimes I'll work out in the afternoon, but most of the time it's in the morning. I have to work out before I eat. So I work out right away. I eat breakfast. I post in all my challenge groups, or any other groups that I have going. Like right now, I have a sneak peek group going, um, and I do a power hour. My goal is to do a power hour before I leave the house. For the most part, if I have appointments, or need to do something, I try to make it later in the day, because I like doing a power hour before I leave the house, if I have to leave for anything. And honestly, I try not to. When I first started full time, I'd make lunch plans and do this and do that. And honestly, I try not to do that anymore, for the most part. And I put at least, I would say, a minimum of 6 hours a day, minimum, into my business. And um, Sometimes there's a little bit of a lull later in the day. I try to think up posts, or plan my posts for my challenge groups or something like that, because a lot of times you don't get responses in the middle of the day. Sometimes you do. And then I try to commit to a couple hours at night as well, because that's the best time to reach out to people and the best time to get responses from people. Um, I think that it was premature for me to go full time because I really hadn't grown my business very much. Yes, I was an emerald, but I had my husband on one side, and I probably had a different person every single month on the other side, so I didn't have anybody building. So I wasn't on my way to diamond or anything like that. I guess I'm in a little bit of a different position than a lot of people because my husband owns his own business, and um, so we're in a little bit of a different financial position, and also he likes for me to be home, so I can help him with his business, and also like so we can get up and travel. We went snowmobiling a ton this winter during the week, and stuff like that. So um, I wasn't I wasn't fully committed to my business when I left my full-time job, which is different now because I am fully committed. Anybody else? All right, thanks guys.